I'm sitting here with Craig Stone. A lot of you may know him if you are from the Ada area. He and I both work in radio, and I thought today we would sit down together and kind of get to know the man behind the mic in both radio and, of course, as a DJ. So thank you for meeting with me today.
No problem.
I think, first of all, I know you, but the people that are going to watch this video don't know you. So I think what I want to ask you first is, how did you even get your start in radio? Is it something you were interested in?
I am the only person, I think, that when you're guidance counselor in high school, you take that test and they tell you this is what you should be when you grow up. That's what it came back as.
Really?
Had never thought about it, and that was the very first thing. And then like 6 months later, I actually got offered a job independently to come in and do some weekend work, and it just kind of fell together.
Were you always an outgoing person in school? Is that something that you feel like you scored high on the test?
No, I've always felt though that there's two very different types of radio people. There are the outgoing people, but then there's also the more introverted people that I think that's part of why they're attracted to it, but more of the analytical side of how it all works.
So what was the first radio station you worked at?
Very first one was KYKC here in Ada.
And were you a DJ or did you start behind the scenes?
Started behind the scenes, just doing like I said, weekend work. I'd come in, I'd do some board hopping. I would make sure that their Sunday morning programming ran, and then started to do some fill-in work. I believe the first fill-in work was then over at KADA very early on. Like within less than a year, I'd been at 3 different radio stations because someone else was looking for another, and I was just kind of bouncing back and forth from studio to studio.
So once you actually got into radio, did you think, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my career?
Pretty much, yeah. Like I said, I was never one of those people that knew I wanted to be a doctor. I knew I wanted to be a fireman when I grew up. It was something I was always unsure of. Advertising had been something that I had thought of, being able to use creativity, so it kind of fell in line anyway.
You definitely get to use creativity when it comes to radio and commercials and flyers. Well, so let's move on from the radio side of it. How did you get involved in DJing?
When I started DJing, very first thing I did, I was in bands when I was a teenager. Owned PA equipment. Someone came to me and initially was like, well, can you DJ this party that I have coming up this weekend? I had all the gear, so I was like, yeah, I can do that, and started doing those. And then it was doing one of those events that I got approached to be in radio. So they all just kind of fell in line one after another. It
seems sometimes that radio and DJing go hand in hand in a lot of careers. Do you prefer DJing or radio, one over the other?
It depends on the day. There's definitely the aspect of doing the live DJing. You get immediate response. Being in a radio station, you're staring at a wall, usually in a room by yourself most of the time, essentially talking to yourself. You've got a character, someone that you have in mind, someone that you're being that day, but you never know how the other person is responding. DJing, totally different thing. Like even throughout the course of a night, you pay attention. The crowd tells you how much they like it, what they want more of. So it's definitely a more immediate response.
Is DJing kind of what led you in the direction of also doing karaoke on the side of the different venues throughout the area?
I had a friend who did karaoke DJing. I started helping him out a few times and just started getting some job offers that way too. So
okay. So tell everybody what is like one really rare fact, something fun, something interesting about you in the radio world that they may not know about. Something cool you've done, experienced, something like that.
Just the doors that, it has opened up. Things that I never thought I would have been able to do. I did a couple of jobs being able to do color commentary on mixed martial arts just because they needed a guy who could talk. And I don't have to do the play-by-play. Color I can do no problem. It's just a matter of throwing my opinion in there from time to time. I've done announcing for professional wrestling. I've done racetrack stuff. It's things that I never would have even considered, something that I'd be able to do, let alone know how to go after it. It's just kind of opened up those doors.
So where do you see your life in radio in 15 years?
Hopefully retired.
Retired. Same. Well, thank you so much, Craig, for this interview. It's kind of a short and sweet one, but I appreciate you taking out the time today to meet with me and let everybody know a little bit more about you.
Thank you.